What about Kansas and Texas? I
Something
mean,
something crazy happened there?
I can't quite wrap my head around what the Texas like we are in this position right now where we are trying to fire all these coaches and we're trying to look at all these results and we're trying to say like, oh, this means they're going to get fired. This means they're not going to get fired. Like if there's an opinion on what this does or doesn't mean for Manny Diaz, I'll entertain it. I don't think I've got a good feel one way or the other. I don't think that this game sways it one way or the other, but I do believe that it is too early to fire Steve Sarkisian at this point in the situation. But holy cow, the season has been backsliding very, very quickly, and losing to a 1-8 Kansas team has to be the cherry on top, right?
Well, I mean, what's hilarious is like Texas's problem has been in the second half, blowing leads. Tonight in the second half, including overtime, they outscored Kansas 42-22, and they lost by 1. There's clearly problems within that program right now, like in the locker room, just everywhere. Like we've seen, the video last week, players recording that stuff, Sark getting into arguments with players at practice. Like obviously there is some kind of divide between this new coaching staff and the players that were there before who played under Tom Herman. And I don't know what the problem is. It could be that after being at Alabama for the last few years, Sarkisian has been Sabanified and processified, and he's coming to Texas and he's trying to implement a new culture and way of doing things that the players there just aren't used to and are kind of pushing back against. Or it could just be a whole bunch of other stuff that's causing problems, and the players don't trust the coaches, and maybe the coaches don't trust the players, and it's coming through off the field and it's coming through on the field, because it's a mess. I mean, I don't want to take any credit away from Kansas here. Kansas deserves all the credit in the world. It played well. It finished. It got kind of hairy there at the end. They nearly blew it. They rallied too many times in the past. Kansas teams would have blown that lead and it would have just been over. Texas would have won and everybody would have moved on. This Kansas team fought back, won the game. It's awesome for them. And this is a Texas program that there's a long way to go before. I mean, and honestly, by the time they get to the SEC, it might even push the progress back further, because you're going to be going from playing Kansas and TCU and those schools to playing, Arkansas and Mississippi State as your quote unquote gimmies.
Well, speaking of Harry, Texas hasn't won since the pole assassin. So, I mean,
they were Leopold assassin tonight.
Chip, you can't just walk into the haunted house that is a game against Kansas and not expect to get bit, bro.
there was this sign back there.
Yeah. I think Texas is alleging, that there was at least some sort of implied waiver involved with this contest between the two.
Texas should have put up a sign, "Please don't enter our end zone." Like maybe they'll go write it now.